Tim Sika, everybody. Hi.
Hi, Kim. How are you? Happy
I'm
Friday.
good. Happy
Yeah,
Friday to you.
yeah, thank you.
I already have movie tickets for Inside Out 2 because my son has been
Ah,
really excited to see this movie. So I'm excited to see what you think about it.
did you see the first one?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, okay. Well, this sequel, right, is happens to be set 1 year after the ending of the first film.
Okay.
And the main character in that story, Riley, her name is, she just, and in this movie, she just turns 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's just about to enter high school, which means, like, that's a major life switch for her. And she's
I have
also
one of
just,
those here at the house. Yes.
yeah, okay. Well, and yeah, so you're going to be able to relate to this story.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, she is just entering puberty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this sequel, I would say, it's a sort of an expanded take on the first movie, right? In which Riley's emotions in that first movie, joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust, have since created a kind of a new section of Riley's mind called her sense of self, which houses memories and feelings that take up Riley's core personality. And in Inside Out 2, we have continued the story of Riley's emotions. These same emotions, joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust, find themselves joined by new emotions that want to take over Riley's head because of the new things that Riley's experiencing, like changing schools, going through puberty. So added to this list of emotions in Inside Out 2
Mm-hmm.
are anxiety. Anxiety is really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Envy, ennui, nostalgia, and embarrassment. They keep making jokes about ennui. People are going, "What is that? What is that?" Anyway, boredom. It's a French word for boredom, and all of these emotions are I can never say that word.
Anthropomorphized.
Anthropomorphized.
There
Yes,
you go.
yes. They're given human characteristics. Okay, so clever, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Pixar is so clever. They're so whip smart. They assume their audiences are just as clever and smart. And in Inside Out 2, which is quintessential and emblematic Pixar in that regard, they're a surfeit of color. All these movies of humor, eye-popping animation and cinematography, lively patter, rapid-fire dialogue exchanges between all their characters, and a kind of zippy energy. I think this is a very good movie. I think it's as good as the first one. Sometimes I wish it weren't so revved up. It's like they're serving an audience and appealing to an audience with ADHD.
Oh,
While I was watching it, I said to myself, this is a really good movie, but I wish it would breathe a little more. And again, that's just individual taste and style. And yes, I know that not every animated movie can be, Robot Dreams, which was very lyrical.
sure.
I wanted it to be a little more lyrical, but and sometimes I think when I was watching this, sometimes I think Pixar is becoming a kind of prisoner of its own brand and style. But I mean, okay, so I'm taking off my critic's hat here. Having said all that, there's no denying that this movie is quality made. It's intelligent, and it's enormously respectful of its audience, kids and adults alike. Pixar never ever plays down to their audiences, and there's no playing down to audiences in this one. Some of it even went over my head. I mean, it was so fast and so
Wow.
smart, but its subtle message, or at least this was my takeaway, its subtle message that all of our emotions are valid and it's okay to feel whatever we need to feel or whatever we're feeling. But in the end, we get to choose which of those emotions are going to dominate our core self and our consciousness as we, show up in the world and walk through the world to fulfill our individual life purpose. So,
Mm-hmm.
for all the reasons uttered, I would be negligent and remiss as a film critic not to enthusiastically recommend Inside Out 2 to everybody who's listening.
Yay! Now,
Yay!
Inside Out, the first one, I thought it did breathe. It had these moments where you
It
looked at
did.
the sad memories and, she was
Yes,
on the bus
I
and
agree.
there was
I agree.
tears. There was some
Yes,
sad
I
moments where
agree.
you kind of felt
Uh
it.
huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a moment in this towards the end where you get that, but it was so revved up and hyped up, which is fine. I mean, that's kind of the style of most animated films. You know, there's one action sequence
Hmm.
after another, one joke after another, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
You know, like a machine gun. But you know, I saw it, I think, with an audience. There was maybe about 30 invited people there, and about half of them were kids, and the kids just loved it. You know,
Okay.
they laughed,
Yeah.
they squealed. The adults were laughing at things the kids weren't laughing at. So it's really good. You know, I heard a $200 million price tag on this movie, that
Wow.
it costs that much. Ugh, that's a lot of money. I think they're expecting. I think they're projecting like 85 million opening weekend, but we'll
That's
see.
huge.
But yeah, I hope it does well. It's a you know the messages in these movies for kids too are, you know, they're very unlike the old Disney movies, which appeal to, you know, audiences of the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Hmm.
They get down and dirty sometimes, and they you know, they lay it out, you know, for kids. I mean, there's a line in this one about maybe as you get older, you know, you lose some of your joy, kind of thing. And I'm going,
Oh,
whoa, that's interesting. I mean, they make up for that, but they get kids
yeah.
to think about, like, you know, well, maybe if that happens in my life, you know, I'm not abnormal. It's a normal thing to feel, kind of thing.
Sure.
They do a beautiful job. The writing is beautiful. They're just ace over at Pixar. What can I
Wow.
say?
I
Yeah.
can't wait to see it. I'll see it this evening and I'll text you. You better
Oh,
believe
good.
it.
Text me. Yeah. Let me know. Yeah. Let me know. Yeah. Okay. You've got
Next
kids, so
movie.
you're gonna be looking at it maybe a little differently, you know, because you have kids. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one, I think this is a movie for me because I love these historical dramas and
Me too.
romances.
Me
Like this is
too.
up my alley. This is kind of I want to say Outlander-esque. I don't know. Firebrand.
That's interesting. Yeah, that is actually, yeah, kind of, sort of. Yeah, I'll get to that. From what little I can surmise, this one's not getting a whole lot of love from the critical establishment,
Oh
but
no.
it just so happens to be my favorite film of the week. I mean, aside from Inside Out too, because
Hmm.
this is a movie for you know, when the kids go to bed. It's called Firebrand, which is a kind of a dumb title for this period movie. It's a historical drama based on a novel, a 2013 novel called Queen's Gambit by Elizabeth Fremantle. I had never heard of it. And what it's about is Catherine Parr, played by Alicia Vikander. There she is in the poster, the sixth and last of Henry VIII's wives. Henry VIII is played here by Jude Law, in a really surprising performance, let's just say, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. But the story takes place during the final years of Henry VIII's reign as King of England, and the dramatic conceit being that Henry VIII is near the end of his life. He's in bad health. He's in pretty much constant pain because he had this ulcerous leg that they didn't really know how to
Hmm.
treat. And he was always in pain. And it's kind of grossly depicted in this movie. He's also syphilitic. He's willful. He's paranoid. He's raging at the world. He's unpredictable. He's physically decaying, kind of disgusting, still hedonistic, patriarchally misogynist, and concerned over two things as he kind of knows he's dying. One, he is determined to get rid of all the subjects in his realm who challenged the teachings of his Church of England. You know, he famously broke away from the
Hmm.
Catholic Church because he wanted to marry Anne Boleyn, blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows that story. And
Right.
two, he's suspicious of his wife, Catherine, who is kind of a fan of this radical teacher, a woman named Anne Askew, true real life historical woman, who was condemned as a heretic, right, and convicted of treason by Henry, and who was eventually tortured in the Tower of London and burned at the stake. So that's what's going on in Firebrand. And I'm like you, Kim, I'm a sucker for these kinds of period
Hmm.
dramas anyway, especially this period of English history. And there have been so many dramatic cinematic depictions and accounts of Henry VIII and his wives and blah, 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 that I went into this a little leery. I thought, you know, this can't be that good. But I came out pretty satisfied in terms of the drama of and the characters in this piece. And this particular interpretation of events that were going on between Henry VIII and, as he was, nearing his end, and his wife, Queen Consort Catherine Parr. So yes, this is why it's being criticized. Historical accuracy has been kind of sacrificed a little bit here in favor of emotional truth. I think that's okay, though. I don't have a problem with that, because it doesn't.
If you know that going into it, then you just kind of set your expectations for that.
Yeah, and they don't claim to be, and it's fine. But there is an emotion. Some of the changes that were made, I think, create a certain emotional truth about what was going on at that time, especially in the minds of these characters, which we're never going to know anyway, as so long ago. We're not going to really know what they thought. And when you stack all of the Henry VIII movies on top of each other, you set them next to each other, I don't know how else a movie about this subject would still be interesting. So as drama, I like this approach. I like the movie. Alicia Vikander and Jude Law are excellent. The entire cast is excellent. I like the heaviness and grimness of the tone, the grottiness of the setting and the set design. You mentioned Outlander. Yeah, it kind of does have that feel and look. And that's, in a way, I think that seemed more historically accurate than a lot of the other Hollywood renderings, which tended more towards like Technicolor gloss. This one looks like we're back there in that time period. And I also very much like the way in which Henry VIII was depicted, as this physically semi-repulsive oaf who was still fighting for his life, but whose very life was hampered by the decay of both his body and his mind. I also tend to think, based upon my own knowledge of this period in history, that this Henry that we see in this movie is written by Henrietta and Jessica Ashworth and brilliantly played by Jude Law, may just be closer to the truth of what the king was actually like at this stage of his life. And as I said, Jude Law is excellent. So yeah, overall, I thought it was one absorbing and reasonably interesting drama. And it's kind of a feminist drama, too. I did not know that Catherine Parr was the first woman in history to be published under her name, under her own name. Yeah, she published 3 books.
I have a question. How do you make Jude Law repulsive? How is that even possible?
It's funny. Well, the face looks like Jude Law, and how do you make him repulsive? Well, you give him padding, and there is one scene where he's on top of his wife. Right. He's just going at her like a wild boar, and they show. I don't know if it's Jude Law. If it is Jude Law, he's gotten really fat. But they show they show Henry from behind on top of her, and it's. Just to show that the king hasn't lost any of his carnality, I guess. But I don't know. I don't know if that was Jude Law in that particular shot. His face isn't repulsive, but his body's repulsive, and his acting makes you feel what it must have been like to be the king and just being so hampered by what nature was doing to you, and wanting still so much to be on top of everything. I think it's a great performance. I just read where he's going to be honored in October in San Francisco at the Mill Valley Film Festival. They're going to showcase his work, and he's going to appear in person for a Q&A. And I think it's as a result of this film, because this is his latest film. So
okay.
Yeah.
Mindy says King Henry wasn't really great at taking care of his wives. Oh, I think he took care of them all right.
He sure did. I love that, Mindy. Yeah, he sure did, one way or the other, right? Oh God. But Catherine Parr survived him. She she was married to him for almost 4 years, but she came pretty close at times. And at one point he did imprison her. Yeah.
Murphy says Jude Law is looking older. Saw him on Colbert last night. He does wear a fat suit for the movie, but in real life, he really is balding. So. Yeah.
I had heard that as well. Well, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah.
Here's a movie I haven't heard about. Reverse the Course.
Yeah, Reverse the Curse.
Oh, the Curse. Reverse the Curse.
Yes, the title referring to the losing streak of the Boston Red Sox baseball team. This movie premiered. I hadn't heard of it either until last week, actually. It premiered last week at the Tribeca Film Festival, and it's opening in theaters and on demand today. And it's a comedy drama starring, produced, written, and directed by David Duchovny,
Oh,
of the X-Files.
sure.
And it's based upon Duchovny's own 2016 novel called Bucky Effing Dent, um, which, like this movie adaptation, focuses on a father-son relationship. It focuses on death and it focuses on baseball, but not necessarily in that order. And the plot is that Duchovny plays a Boston Red Sox baseball fan who's dying of cancer. And so when he hears about this, his son, played by Logan Marshall Green, I think is he in that picture? Yeah, he's to the right of David.
Okay.
He moves back home to take care of his dad, which gives both, father and son opportunities to make peace with each other and make amends for their respective pasts, all the mistakes that they made and, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And added to this is a little plot wrinkle, which I kind of liked actually, when Duchovny's son notices that Duchovny's health drops noticeably whenever his beloved Boston Red Sox baseball team loses a game. To keep his father's spirits up, the son manufactures a counterfeit winning streak for the team with the help of a crew of his dad's neighborhood pals. And for all of this movie's good intentions, it just fails to cut the mustard in just about every way imaginable. It is messy, it's emotionally manipulative, and as to be fair, all movies are. But as a viewer, you're not supposed to see and or notice the mechanics of the manipulation in
Sure.
play, which is always a fault of the direction. And Duchovny directed this movie. The actors are all good, but they literally eat a lot of their lines, making you go, what the hell did they just say? Plot information is buried beneath a certain kind of directorial style and an overuse of music and songs to comment on the action. There's lots of speechifying in the emotional moments where the actors are supposed to make you empathize and feel. The actors overplay their scenes and they chew the scenery as if to remind you that you really need to pay attention right here and now, because we're going to share a bit of wisdom or observational truth about life and death with you, and we don't want you to miss this. I mean,
Is that preachy?
Yeah, it's preachy, but you can see the mechanics at play and you're going, I feel like I'm really being played here, kind of thing. Maybe the movie would have worked better if Duchovny as a filmmaker didn't have so much to do. I mean, he wrote the thing, he produced the thing, he's behind the camera directing the thing, he's in front of the camera acting. Maybe if he would have recast the title role with another actor, maybe this thing wouldn't have come across as so self-consciously annoying as it does. But yeah, despite its good intentions, to me, Reverse the Curse was more eye-rolling than anything, and a movie that is just way too much in love with itself for you to get lost in it. So too bad, that's my take. I just kept going. I just all the way through. I kept going. Jeez, man, get Jesus. Can you do? Have you ever heard of subtlety? Anybody in this movie, or were we just gonna pound this stuff over your head? Anyway,
not recommended.
Not recommend. Yeah, in other words, not recommended. Yeah,
Not recommended. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go back because we have some comments that I wanted to get to you. Teacher Lori says regarding your comment about how this movie is, just kind of like, woo, coming at you like ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
She said that's how puberty is. If you got the feeling the movie was effective making you feel the way adolescents feel going into puberty. She said when you're going through puberty, you feel like you can't breathe. And then she said as a middle school teacher, trying to get kids to stop and take a breath was a challenge.
Wow, that is really insightful. That's I would wager or speculate anyway that that's probably what the filmmakers had in mind, because they're very attuned to, their audiences, especially kids. Wow, that's very insightful. Thank you for that.
Also got this comment from Eileen who said, as you get older, you have to look for joy, that it doesn't just come easily as you mature. That from, I think, Amy Poehler quote. So.
Oh, Amy Poehler said that?
Amy P, she said. I'm thinking maybe Amy Poehler. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Said that. Oh, yeah. As that you get old. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, Actually, Amy Poehler voices Joy in this movie.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't know. Maybe that's something that character actually says in the movie.
That
Yeah.
would make sense.
Yeah,
So,
it just was, and I'm an older guy. I
mm.
like things. The older I get, the slower it seems like. But really, it's a brilliant movie. There's no question. I mean that the filmmakers did their homework.
Yeah.
And they made a terrific film. I think it's as good as the first one, and in some ways it's better because they kind of expanded on they added all these emotions which naturally would come with puberty
Sure.
and all these major life changes.
Yeah.
Going from middle school to high school, that could be
It's a big
traumatic for a
deal.
lot of kids. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
So
this movie you liked, you said it was revved up, but you called it a quality movie.
yeah.
The next one, Firebrand, you said they sacrificed some historical accuracy here for emotional reasons, but you liked the movie. You said it was absorbing and reasonably interesting. So there
Yeah,
you go.
there you go. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Sadly, for Reverse the Curse, you said it's self-consciously annoying and eye-rolling, and you can't recommend this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about sizes it up for the week in
That's the
movies.
way it is. So last night, Julia decided that she wanted to watch The Notebook with me.
That's a good
So
movie. That's one of the
we,
best. That's one of the
oh,
great dramatic romantic dramas
she
ever.
didn't see
Yeah.
it coming, the twist in the story.
Really? Really? Did
Yeah,
she
she
like the
didn't.
movie?
She was sobbing on the
Yeah.
couch. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was really good. We also watched Crazy Rich Asians, which I hadn't seen before, and
Uh-huh.
I really liked that
You
movie.
like the Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
a
didn't
lot
like
of
it?
people like that. Well, you know what? I thought where I thought it made some progress was in the casting. I thought
Hmm.
it was a victory for on-screen ethnic representation. That entire cast was Asian, and they were all
Hmm.
good. I just thought it kind of fell into a lot of cliched, romantic
A little
tropes,
bit.
and yeah, yeah. So but I'm a critic. You go to movies because you like to go to movies, and you know what you like, and when you see that on screen, you champion it, and good for you. But you
I
know,
like a good romance, you
yeah,
know?
uh-huh, yeah, and
It carries me to a happy place.
if it carries you to a happy place, man, you want to see more of them.
That's right. That's why I
Yeah.
keep coming back.
But you
At
like
the mo-
first time you seeing it?
Yeah, that was the first time I saw that movie. I thought it
Oh,
was
okay,
good. I
good.
liked the power play between the girlfriend and the mother. I thought
Oh
that was
yeah,
really interesting.
that
Yeah.
was pretty intense.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well,
At,
good, great, good. I'm glad you saw it.
yay. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, how was your event that you went to last week?
It was very, very cool. It was more low key than the awards ceremony that they do annually that the CCA does. But yeah, there were a lot of celebrities there. Sean Hayes was there. George
That's funny.
Takei was there.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron was there. Nathan Lane was there. I mean,
Wow.
it was pretty terrific. It was basically just a series of presentations,
Hmm.
but everything was carefully choreographed. The pacing of the event was good. The meal was really great. They served not swordfish. What's the other fish? Oh God, I'm blanking on it. It isn't
Mahi
swordfish.
mahi?
No, no, no,
Mahi?
no. Damn, I can't. I said I thought swordfish. Now I blocked it. I probably won't think about it until I get off. But the meal
Oh,
was really good. The wine
okay.
was really good. Uh, the CCA, when they do an event, they go all out,
Wow.
and
Okay.
it's a nice perk being a member of that group. Yeah.
Well, you always go all out for us with the movies. I so appreciate you coming by. Have a really good weekend, Tim
Thanks.
Sika.
Yeah, you too, Kim. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for
All
having
right.
me